Sri Lanka's tranquil atmosphere was shattered by a scream rising from the dark depths of international drug trafficking. The name Makandure Madush became the resounding cry of a global criminal empire, drawing attention to Sri Lanka as a central hub for drug smuggling. Under Madush's leadership, the island's ports became the heart of a drug trafficking network, and the flow of illicit substances worldwide rapidly grew. This large operation not only exposed a smuggling ring, but also brought to light the mysteries hidden in the darkest corners of the criminal world. Madush's network revealed Sri Lanka's strategic role in the international drug market and the complex structure of organized crime. Every cargo container and every covert shipment highlighted how vast and intricate this criminal network truly was. Sri Lankan police, through a meticulous operation aimed at uncovering every detail within this complex network, illuminated the dark face of crime. The operation became a significant milestone in Sri Lanka's fight against crime, also showing the extent of international criminal connections. This event marked a turning point, strengthening Sri Lanka's resolve in combating crime and deepening its understanding of the criminal underworld. At the center of the methamphetamine smuggling incident that erupted in Sri Lanka in 2021 was a notorious crime lord named Makandure Madush. Madush had a significant influence in the international drug trafficking world, particularly in Southeast Asia's smuggling activities. Under his leadership, Sri Lanka became a transit point for drugs, with large amounts of illegal substances being exported to global markets. This trade placed Sri Lanka at the heart of the drug trafficking industry. Madush's network was not limited to methamphetamine. He also played a major role in the trade of heroin and other illicit substances. Besides drug trafficking, Madush was involved in crimes such as human trafficking and arms dealing. The exposure of this operation dealt a heavy blow to both Madush and similar major crime organizations. However, behind this operation lay many questions and complex relationships. Since the 2000s, Sri Lanka had become a key stop in drug trafficking. The country's geographical location made it particularly attractive for smuggling activities, especially by sea. Initially, small-scale drug shipments were carried out, but by the mid-2010s, these operations became more organized and professional. During this period, crime leaders like Makandure Madush emerged, and the drug trade began to expand. By 2019, drug trafficking in Sri Lanka had grown significantly. Madush formed alliances with local mafia leaders, increasing the shipment of methamphetamine and other drugs. The country became a key player in both the domestic and international drug markets. Thanks to Madush's international connections, large amounts of drugs were sent to Southeast Asia and Europe. The effects of this trade became more evident, particularly in 2021. By 2021, Sri Lankan police launched a major operation to dismantle Madush's methamphetamine network, which they had been tracking for a long time. A large shipment of methamphetamine, organized under Madush's leadership, was prepared to be sent abroad. The smugglers attempted to transport the drugs using fake documents and secret cargo routes. The shipment was to be directed by sea to Malaysia, India, and other Southeast Asian countries. However, the police, who had been closely monitoring this smuggling network's movements, noticed suspicious cargo activities at the ports, allowing them to initiate the operation. As a result of the raid, a large quantity of methamphetamine was seized, and Madush's network suffered a severe blow. This operation was one of the largest steps taken by Sri Lankan police in their fight against drug trafficking. While Madush was at the center of the incident, many accomplices were involved. These criminals were typically individuals who had previously been involved in various illegal activities. Madush's associates included local mafia leaders, port workers, and criminals with international connections. These individuals had long been involved in crimes such as arms smuggling, human trafficking, and extortion. Drug trafficking was one of the most profitable activities for this criminal group. Madush's team operated not only in Sri Lanka, but also in international drug markets. This crime network, with its wide connections, conducted a variety of illegal activities at both local and international levels. The dismantling of this complex structure was recorded as a significant step in the fight against drug trafficking. To conceal the methamphetamine shipment, the smuggling network employed highly sophisticated methods. The drugs were often hidden among legitimate trade goods. For example, large amounts of methamphetamine were concealed in cargo containers among construction materials or agricultural products. Fake documents and affiliated maritime transport companies were used to ensure that these drugs passed through borders without detection. The smugglers had meticulously planned every detail. They especially tried to keep the cargo movements hidden using fake documents and identities. However, Sri Lankan police closely monitored cargo movements at the ports and traced the fake documents. This allowed the smuggling activities to be uncovered. The containers hiding the drugs were identified, and a major operation was launched. The incident was brought to light during a large-scale police operation at Colombo Port, Sri Lanka's largest port. After a long period of surveillance, the police monitored suspicious cargo containers. These containers were prepared to be sent abroad using fake documents. The most critical moment of the operation was when the police discovered large quantities of methamphetamine in these containers. The amount of drugs seized was recorded as one of the largest methamphetamine busts in Sri Lankan history. Colombo Port held strategic importance in terms of drug trafficking. As a result, security measures at the port were increased and smuggling networks were closely monitored. With the revelation of the incident, operations at the port were carried out with greater caution. This operation also demonstrated Sri Lankan police's determination to fight local and international criminal networks. This event marked a turning point in the country's fight against crime. In 2021, after extensive intelligence work, Sri Lankan police launched a major operation. At the center of this operation was the drug network led by Makandure Madush. In raids conducted at Colombo Port, over 100 kilograms of methamphetamine were seized. This operation went down in history as one of the largest drug busts in Sri Lanka. Along with Madush, his key associates and other members of the network were also arrested. The operation was not limited to Colombo Port. Raids were also carried out in other parts of Sri Lanka, targeting individuals connected to this network. Furthermore, the police initiated efforts in collaboration with international security organizations to uncover the network's connections in other countries. With the support of organizations like Interpol, the operations expanded to a broader area. These operations became a milestone in Sri Lanka's fight against drug trafficking. After the incident came to light, the police turned their attention not only to the methamphetamine trade, but also to other illegal activities involving the network. The crime syndicate led by Madush was also involved in crimes such as human trafficking and money laundering. As the police uncovered new evidence related to these crimes, the scale of the incident became clearer. When the international connections of the network were examined, it became evident that they had strong ties to other criminal organizations in Southeast Asia. These crime syndicates played a major role in drug trafficking in Sri Lanka and surrounding regions. The newly obtained information led to police operations extending beyond Sri Lanka and turning into an international effort. These events revealed Sri Lanka's links to international criminal networks. After the operation, Makandure Madush and many of his accomplices were arrested. Madush had been wanted for various crimes for years, and his capture in 2021 marked a significant turning point in his criminal career. During the trial process, Madush and his team faced serious charges. Drug trafficking, money laundering, human trafficking, and arms dealing were among the primary accusations they were prosecuted for. In addition to Madush, many individuals involved in the network were also arrested as part of these operations. These individuals had local and international connections and played key roles in the growth of the crime syndicate. The legal process resulted in the seizure of assets and prison sentences for these individuals. While the cases are still ongoing, significant progress has been made in Sri Lanka's fight against drug trafficking. Following this large operation, many individuals and regions under Makandure Madush's control suffered a significant economic blow. Local economies dependent on the drug trade collapsed, and some families who indirectly benefited from these activities were severely impacted. Particularly in rural areas, where people relied on this illicit trade for their livelihoods, there was widespread uncertainty after the incident. The economic cycle driven by crime was largely disrupted. Additionally, drug addicts and their families were also affected by this incident. In areas where drug use was prevalent, the collapse of the methamphetamine trade left addicts in difficult circumstances. The lack of treatment centers and the widespread addiction problem made it difficult for these individuals to reintegrate into society. The incident left deep scars on various segments of society and exacerbated social issues. As of 2023, Makandure Madush and many of his accomplices remain in prison with their trials ongoing. While legal processes continue, Sri Lankan police are pressing on with operations against the remnants of this crime syndicate. The discovery of Madush's international connections has shifted the police's focus to other crime organizations in Southeast Asia and Europe. Sri Lanka is working with international security organizations to expand its fight against drug trafficking. Sri Lankan police are continuing their efforts at both local and international levels to fully dismantle this network. The police aim to capture more accomplices and completely eradicate the smuggling operation. The measures taken in Sri Lanka's fight against drug trafficking have strengthened the country's position in the battle against crime. However, it is clear that there is still a long way to go before drug trafficking is fully eradicated.